Good morning, gang. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great week and are enjoying a great weekend. And for those that raced, hope you had great races yesterday. And hope you were able to execute the plan, learn from the race. And but I'm here to another Q&A session. We had a lot of success in the last one we did, and there's a lot of good questions asked. So I'm here to do another Q&A, and maybe we'll focus a little bit more specifically on cross country. Different types of races, and I'll wait a few minutes. People tend to take a few minutes to come on, and that's totally fine. So just kind of getting organized here. Cross country racing strategy. I mean, we race everything 5K, 6K, 8K, 10K, no matter what level you're at. Maybe different distances and overseas. So if you have questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to answer them. And even if it's not cross country, even if it's something else. Track race or even videos that we've done recently, and I'm here to answer all questions. So please don't be afraid. Do not think that your question's dumb. There are no dumb questions. You're just trying to learn. Whether you're an athlete or a coach, you just want to get some information or intel that you don't currently have, or if there's something that I've not made clear in my videos, let me know, and I'll help, and I will happily elaborate. So I'll generally wait a few minutes to get on here, but cross country again. I mean, some quick tidbits, right? If you have a hilly race, it's definitely a good idea to do some workouts over hilly areas to try to simulate the race that you're going to run or the course that you're going to run. And if you get an opportunity to either course preview, run the course or anything, I have an idea what the course looks like. If you run it multiple times, this is a great batch of information for you to break it down so you can customize workouts. One of the reasons why I have momentum hills workouts is so that you can do it in such a way so if the hill's in the beginning of the course, you could do the hill in the beginning of the repeat. If it's in the middle, you can do the hills in the middle. If it's at the end, you can do the hills at the end, and it'll help simulate what the course is going to look like, whether it's 600-meter repeats, 800-meter repeats, 1Ks, 12 miles, whatever it might be. Even shorter repeats. You can do short 200, 300, 400-meter hill repeats just to get you doing a long drive up a hill. And it doesn't have to be super steep. And with the key being, you try to maintain the momentum that you have on the flats, right? And it may go slower, but you try to maintain the same foot cadence. And when you do that, it makes it easier for you to crest the hill and do some damage over the top of the hill. When you get over the hill, you can regain momentum. This is where you can catch a lot of people, pass a lot of people, right? When people tend to either attack hills or change the way they run up the hills, this is a way for you to take advantage of that and to capitalize on opportunities like that. And sometimes this is where races are won and lost. If you're ready for that, this puts you at an advantage. Okay, and again, the same flip side. When the course is flat, designing workouts on the flats too to help you simulate. And it's much easier to either worry about a time or think about time when the race is flat because it simulates running on a track. So not entirely, but it simulates running on a track. When you have rolling hills, it's very difficult to worry about a time. And that's where strategic racing becomes more prominent and more important, where place racing or competitive racing becomes that much more prominent. Again, learning some things that help you on the flats are good ideas too. And again, it could be a 4K, it could be 5K, 6K, 8K, 10K. So try to design workouts to help simulate the course you're going to run is an absolute important piece of training if you don't do it already. And again, if you have ability to run on softer surfaces or rolling areas, getting long runs in that are rolling is a great way of building leg strength, which translates to leg power, leg speed. And again, rolling hills on a softer surface, much more forgiving on your legs. Okay, and remember, when you're going uphill, leaning into the hill. When you're going downhill, also leaning into the hill, which keeps you perpendicular to the hill. It takes the stress off the joints, your Achilles, your lower back, your knees, and other areas. It helps to keep, it helps basically the legs not get beat up as much, if that makes sense. So staying perpendicular to the hill when you're downhill rather than leaning back, you'll get some momentum, okay, which allows you to kind of continue the momentum onto the flats. Okay, but it will not throw you off. And you can still slow it down a little bit and not let yourself get carried away on the downhill, because you have to make sure that you're safe on the downhill too. You can do that, but if you're perpendicular, it's much more forgiving on the legs and the joints. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to recover from these races too without being hurt. So this is where these types of components of training are important. A good flexibility routine, a good strength routine. This is where they all complement each other, right? And again, leaning into the hill, being perpendicular is absolutely critical. So if that makes sense, let me know in the comments. And when you get in here, I see somebody in here, just say hi in the comments so I can say hi back. And if you have questions, I'm here to answer them. Any of my videos, if you have questions about any of them, I'm happy to answer. Happy to break things down for you in a way that you may not have heard before. And sometimes it just takes a question or two. Okay, and about the fact I'm doing a live streams too is it's good because sometimes you have a question, and I'll answer it, which can lead to another question, which you have availability, you have access to me live time, so we can continue to have dialogue. It gives you a better understanding on the training videos. So, welcome anybody that comes in here. Really welcome, really, really, really. And I hope you had a great race. If you're training for a different type of race, a fall race, road race, let me know in the comments. Okay, cross country is a different beast, and keep in mind too, cross country complements road racing. Okay, it's similar, but it also helps to set you up nicely for. It's a great way of building strength for track, which is a little bit more pace specific and repetition specific than anything else. And complementary to cross country training, getting some short, flat, fast stuff for speed development is key too. My athletes do, whether it be repeat 200s, even during cross country season. Okay, to give them, I'm going to continually work on our leg speed development. We're going to continually work on VO2 max work and stuff like that. So they're all important components of training, whether you're training for cross country or the road. So, and what I generally have folks do, and let's just say you do 200s twice a week, as part of after a run or after at the end of a workout. 200s uphill early in the week, 200s flat later on in the week. Same thing goes for 50s or 100s or whatever it might be. Okay, and the shorter the hill repeat, the steeper the hill. The longer the hill repeat, the more gradual the hill. That's just another rule of thumb. It's a way of not only building strength but keeping you healthy too. So, and doing them at the end of a workout is a great way of simulating accelerating when you're already tired. It simulates the end of a race. It simulates kicking. It simulates the end of a cross country race too. So there's a lot of reasons why. And again, it's completely up to you as a coach to decide how you want to do it. Okay, and how you want to incorporate the training if you are a coach. That's your decision. That's your call. But these are things that I want to share with you that I've had success with over the 2 decades as a coach that you might find some value in. Whether it be this, whether it be momentum hills, which I find to be a very complementary part of training, very helpful part of training, particularly if you're doing longer repeats like 800-meter repeats or 1,000-meter repeats, and doing it in such a way where the hill's in the middle or the hill's at the beginning or the hill's at the end. This gives you momentum in a longer continuous rep. It teaches you how to respond to the rep, recover from the rep, okay, continually maintain pace, get into a groove, get back into your groove. So those are great repeats to do. And again, they're different than doing stuff like threshold stuff, cruise thousands or tempo runs at a certain pace. You can do tempo on a rolling area, but the pace range needs to be a little bit more flexible in that regard. So when you add that dynamic into the cruise intervals or threshold reps or tempo runs, got to be a little bit more mindful of the pace. So especially in particularly the pace ranges, because we generally prescribe a certain pace range. So you're training it within your fitness levels of a tempo run or a threshold session. So um, that needs to be kept in mind when you're doing this type of stuff, particularly on rolling areas. But it's a good way again of continually running hard, comfortably, and simulating a race situation where again you're running hard for a continuous period of time, even longer than race distance. And it shows you how, okay, I'm I'm going to get some hills here 5 miles into my tempo. I'm going to get some hills 7 miles into my tempo. It's a great way of simulating racing, especially difficult racing. And it's a great way of transitioning too from 10K to half marathon or whatever it might be. There's a lot of similarities in training between 5K and 10K or 10K and half marathon. And these types of workouts are transitional pieces, allow you to move up, move down in distance, and complement it with VO2 max running or speed fartleks or repeats, short repeats, long repeats. Allows you to complement it in a way that will help you prepare for the races that you want to run. And some folks want to run a 5K and a half marathon in the season or whatnot. And excuse me, how do you vary between the two? How do I prepare for the 5K without compromising 5K workouts or 5K training, and vice versa? How do I get better in 5K without compromising half marathon training? How do I infuse short workouts and long runs, and so on, long workouts and shorter runs? All important components of the training. But they're all possible. They all allow you to do this, and having a well-rounded training program gives you time and flexibility to get rid of these things, to get prepared for these things, if that makes sense. So it's in a very, very important part of training, and how you lay it out in your training schedule helps you not only prepare for certain events, but helps you recover from certain events as well, which helps you get ready for the next one. Especially if you have a multi-race season. So just say you're going to race 5 races this season, and they're all between 5K and 10K. You want to culminate at the end of the season with a half marathon. Well, how do you do that in a way that allows you to prepare for these races and still get ready for the half marathon? So, or even in cross country, sometimes the races get longer at the end. So, or if you're in high school, if you're running 5K races or 4K races, and then you happen to have a little bit more of a substantial qualifier and you want to bump up to 8K for a race, where generally the international races tend to be 8K. How do you transition into that without compromising anything else? Important questions for cross country. Again, a lot of the training, just like training for 5K and 10K, a lot of it's complementary of each other. Volume, over distance, under distance, at distance, how to structure it in a way that they all complement each other. Are you doing cycles? Are you doing 3-week cycles or 4-week cycles? Are you doing threshold and tempo runs and hills early in the season? And then are you transitioning midway in the season to, or like the middle third of the season, when the races start to get a little bit more aggressive? Are you infusing more race pace stuff within the threshold stuff to help you get ready for the more aggressive racing? And then are you phasing it into more aggressive workouts like VO2 max or race pace or fast in the race pace towards the end of the season? This way you're not doing too much of something too soon, right? And if you're doing that, are you running your best races? Are you noticing that? Are you running your best races, or your athletes running their best races earlier in the season and not have much in the tank at the end of the season? These are important factors to consider in your training. Are we racing too much? I find folks that race twice a week, and I talk to them on a regular basis, and racing twice a week for several weeks can take a lot out of you. It prevents you from getting an important training time. So, and are you doing the things that you need to do when you're racing so much? If you're racing like Tuesday and Saturday, when are you going to do a workout? That's the other thing. When are you going to do the things that you need to do to prepare? Races only get you so much ready for races. There are other components of the training that need to prepare you for the different type of racing scenarios, and transitional upward distance or transitional into track and so on. So a lot of questions. Well, there are a lot of questions, and how you interpret them, how you answer them is an important part as a coach. This is where you're learning as much data, getting as much information as you possibly can, and journaling it when you can, or taking notes, helps give you as much information for you to go back to and say, okay, I need to make some adjustments here. He or she is running good here at this point in the season, but falling apart there. How can I push these good races back to the latter parts of the season during championship season? I need her ready here in November, not early October. I need him ready, and so on. So this gives you information on how to structure it and how to timeline the races, if that makes sense. So, but if anybody has any other questions, cross country, load up the comments here. I'm here to answer them. I'm here to answer whatever questions you might have for any event. Doesn't matter. Just put your questions here, and good morning to anybody that's in here, and happy Sunday. So, and if you raced yesterday, I hope you had a good race. I hope you're feeling good today and healthy. So, but again, load up the comments here. Oh, when the video's over, live stream's over, sometimes folks will ask me questions in the actual comment section and not during the live stream, and that's fine too. That's fine too. It doesn't mean you're going to be on the screen with me here. You know, if you want to be on the screen, I'll give you the link. You can hop on the screen and we can have a dialogue. We can have a conversation. I'm happy to do that too. You can answer questions live time. So, but again, whoever's in here, just let me know in the comments. Just tell me hi and let me know where you're from so I could say hi back. And whatever questions they might be, just load up those questions in the comments, whatever they are. We had some great questions last time when we did a live stream, and I want to build off of that. And some great questions about any of my, I've got 400 plus videos. So a lot of folks have watched the videos and have questions on certain components of it, want to get a better understanding of why I do this and when I do it and so on. I'm here. I'm happy to answer them, whatever the questions might be. So give me those questions in the comments, gang. Give me those questions. That way I'm not babbling by myself. So, but this is, again, cross country. We are in cross country season right now for the most part, for the schools, high school, college, and so on. And there are different types of races, different types of race scenarios, different types of courses. We're in hilly courses, we're in muddy courses in the rain, right? Are you running if the windy courses? You know, are you tucking behind people and letting the wind hit them, letting them draft some of that wind for you? Are you tucking in packs? Are you running together? Are you running the way you train? Which helps prepare you for different types of race scenarios. If you're training, if you've got a kind of a balanced training approach. So, are you doing these things? Are you warming up enough before a race? Are you stretching before a race enough? Right? Are you doing strides before a race to help get your legs opened up a little bit, help get your stride pattern going? Okay. Because a lot of cross country races start with a really hard acceleration in the beginning. So you can even do 2 times a 200 like I do. I prescribe in a lot of my workouts to help you not only find your pace for the workout, but help your legs get moving. Sometimes these kicks take 200, 300, 400 before they settle down. And then the path narrows, right? The pack narrows. And people are like, oh man, I'm in a bad position. I'm stuck behind a bunch of people here. Well, this is where those types of accelerations come in handy to help put you in a good position in a race. And if you're fit enough, you can maintain a position or build off the position. Is my goal here to catch people along the way. Is the game plan that I've worked with my coach to catch people along the way. Where am I catching them? Am I catching them on the uphills or the downhills or on the flats? So this is the type of stuff you can work on in practice. All right. Are we accelerating off of an uphill to try to get that momentum to pass people and break their race instead of them breaking ours? So this is the dynamics of cross country racing. It really is. And it's a lot of different components that come into play. And the more you practice them, the more you train them, the more well prepared you are, the easier it's going to be for you to remember these things and recall, okay, I've done this, I can do this. So it's easier to register, it's easier to incorporate within racing, it's easier to execute when you do these things in practice, if that makes sense. So I will wrap this up in a minute if there are not seeing any questions on here, but I hope you found the information helpful that we've been talking about here. If you do, just hit the thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. So, but cross country Q&A is one of my most favorite things to talk about. Cross country in general, cross country races, high school, college, pros, whatever it might be. I'm a big cross country fan, right? And I follow all the college races, and I always take a look at results and see how much faster people are running collectively, either individually or as a team. How teams have really gotten good, deep, and very and versatile, and how middle distance runners can move up well and translate over 5K or 6K or even 8K or 10K. How can we get milers and half milers to run well during cross country? Are we doing the things that they need that allows them to continually tap into their specialty events, but get them ready for cross country, right? So that we can transition well afterward. Are we testing middle distance runners who aren't necessarily racing a lot in cross country? Are we testing them during the fall so that we've got some data points here and say, okay, he or they're getting ready for track here. They're going to be ready to race track once the season happens here. Again, because we've tested them. Like their half miles, we tested them at 400 after a workout in month 1, and 600 after a workout in month 2, and 800 after a workout in month 3. And how are we doing that? Or the milers, are we testing them at 800 and then 1,000 and then 1,200 meters after a workout in each month? So you might have some milers who not necessarily aren't on the cross country team either, but still want to continue to test them, want to keep them engaged in the training. This is a way to do it while keeping them engaged in the training, also giving them something to look forward to when they're testing their fitness. They love to say, okay, my legs are here, my speed's here, right? This is a way of doing it after a workout, which helps simulate a double, like you're running your second race of the day, and sometimes you feel better the second time of the day. This helps simulate that. Also, using the component of the workout itself to elevate your heart rate so you can transition into your meat and potatoes, your specialty. Okay, now we're going to move a little bit. We're going to run a hard 400 here. We want to run a 56 400 or whatever it might be after 1,000-meter repeats. Because again, I'd rather you do it after 1,000-meter repeats than the beginning of the workout and be dead. So that's where this type of stuff comes into play, comes in handy. Testing yourself, particularly when you're a middle distance runner. So whoever's in here, load me up with some questions, gang. Happy to answer. I will wrap up in a minute if we don't get any questions on here, but I hope you found this informative. Hope you found it helpful. And anytime you have questions, don't be afraid to ask them on what video. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm happy to answer questions on any of the videos that we've got. Okay. And if I could do a live time, I want you to be able to get your answer live time when you want it. Okay. When you need it. And if it leads to another question, that's totally cool by me. Good dialogue is always enjoyable. It's always important. I want to make sure you have a thorough understanding of the videos that I put out so that you as a coach can make better decisions. You as an athlete, a runner, can make better decisions no matter what events you're training for. So I want to make sure you have that weapon in your tool shed and you have access to me that you can take advantage of. And I'll do more of these live streams. I'll probably do them every other weekend, these live streams. So that if folks want to do that, and it doesn't matter what we talk about, half mile, marathon, whatever race you might be training for, or you just want some intel on training itself and how to structure stuff so that you run faster, so that you feel better, or whatever it might be. Absolutely important. Absolutely important. So, again, welcome everybody. Hope you had a great weekend and a great week. I hope for those that raced, I hope you raced well. And for that, whoever came in, thank you for coming in. And we'll get some more questions. Not every live stream is going to have lots of questions, and that's totally fine. Maybe sometimes people just want to listen, okay? And it leads to questions later, which you can. You have access to me, blackbeltrunning.coach@gmail.com is my email. You have access to, you can put your questions in the comments in any of the videos. I'm happy to answer them. Okay? I'm happy to do a Zoom live stream with a bunch of coaches. It's just a Zoom with a bunch of coaches or athletes, or coaches and their athletes, so that we can discuss whatever you want to discuss. Okay? But I hope you found this helpful. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll talk to you next time.